The notion that global warming is awoke by the mainstream media against Christianity is a concept that has been circulating among certain groups and individuals. This idea suggests that the media's emphasis on climate change and its supposed effects is, in fact, applied to undermine Christian values and principles. Proponents of this perspective argue that the media's narrative on global warming is not based on scientific facts, but rather on a hidden agenda to erode the influence of Christianity in modern society. One of the primary arguments put forth by those who believe that global warming is a war against Christianity is that the media's focus on environmental issues is a distraction from more pressing moral concerns. They contend that by emphasizing the need to reduce carbon emissions and transition to renewable energy sources, the media is diverting attention away from issues such as abortion, same-sex marriage, and religious freedom. This, they argue, is a deliberate attempt to marginalize Christian values and replace them with the secular, environmentally focused worldview. Another argument made by proponents of this perspective is that the notion of global warming is inherently anti-Christian. They point to the fact that many Christian denominations have traditionally viewed the natural world as a resource to be exploited for human benefit, rather than as an entity with inherent value. The idea of preserving the environment for its own sake, they argue, is a pagan concept that is incompatible with Christian theology. By promoting the idea of global warming, the media is, in effect, promoting a pagan worldview that is antithetical to Christian values. Furthermore, some argue that the media's emphasis on global warming is also a means of undermining the authority of the Bible. They contend that scientific consensus on climate change is based on a flawed and incomplete understanding of the natural world, and that the Bible provides a more accurate and comprehensive account of the Earth's history and destiny. By promoting the idea of global warming, the media is, in effect, putting science against Scripture and undermining the authority of the Bible in the process. However, it is essential to note that this perspective is not supported by empirical evidence. The overwhelming scientific consensus on climate change is clear. Human activities, particularly the emission of greenhouse gases, are significantly contributing to the increase in global temperatures. This consensus is based on decades of research and data collection by scientists from around the world, and is not a product of a media conspiracy against Christianity. Moreover, many Christian denominations and organizations are actively engaged in environmental advocacy and recognize the importance of caring for the natural world. These groups argue that environmental stewardship is a biblical imperative, and that Christians have a moral obligation to protect the earth and its resources for future generations. This perspective is based on a nuanced understanding of biblical theology, which recognizes the importance of preserving the natural world as a means of glorifying God and promoting human well-being. In conclusion, while the idea that global warming is a war by the mainstream media against Christianity may be a compelling narrative for some, it is not supported by empirical evidence or a nuanced understanding of biblical theology. The scientific consensus on climate change is clear, and the need to address this issue is a moral imperative that transcends religious or ideological boundaries. Rather than viewing global warming as a threat to Christian values, Christians should recognize the importance of environmental stewardship as a means of promoting human well-being and glorifying God. By working together to address the challenge of climate change, people of all faiths and backgrounds can promote a more just and sustainable world for all.